slept in a little bit, but also we were up a lot of the night too, so we're starting a little later today. But welcome back to my channel. Welcome to, this is gonna be a little bit of a kind of pumping routine vlog, sort of what I do with combo pumping and nursing. So 8:45, as soon as I get up in the morning, which is usually earlier than 8:45, but first thing when I get up in the morning is I just pump right away. And typically that's one of my biggest pumps. I will typically fill both of these, or at least close to fill both of them first thing in the morning. And then throughout the day, my milk levels off a little bit. I follow the fridge method. I'm not interested in washing my pumps after every single use, so I leave them in the fridge for 24 hours. I started using these in the middle of the day yesterday, so I'll be using these until middle of the day today, and then I'll switch to my other pump and then wash these tonight. So my main pump is my Spectra S1. This is the blue one. It's the portable one. I don't have to have it plugged in order to be able to use it. I actually think it's getting close to dying, so I am going to need to plug it in soon. But I love this pump. This pump is fantastic. It works really, really well for me. So for those of you who follow me on Instagram, you will know I have experienced DMER, which is essentially where every time my milk lets down, I experience feelings of depression and sadness. So I have discovered that they're not quite as bad when I am pumping. So I've kind of resorted to more of an exclusive pump during the day, and then in the evening and at nighttime is when I nurse, or if he needs a little extra comfort or like times of convenience. Okay, now usually while I'm doing this first pump, I make my breakfast, so I'm gonna do that really quick, and then we will give him a bottle. So first thing in the morning is when my supply is the highest, but I also have a child who typically will sleep through the entire night without being fed, or if he is being fed, he's being fed once. Last night I woke up like 3 times with him, and then he was up for like probably 2 hours. At one point. It was not a good night. So I have a lot less this morning than I normally would. Now I will say to anyone watching this video, whatever your supply is what your supply is, and you can't really compare it to somebody else because everyone's situation is different, everyone's child is different, and you see so many things online of people with these massive supplies and they're filling their bottles every single time, and that's just not realistic for a lot of us. I give Archer 5.5 ounces. He's almost 6 months. I give him 5.5 ounces every time I feed him, and I pump 5.5 ounces almost every single time. Like, my supply is almost exactly what he needs. I am in a little bit of an oversupply sometimes, but not always. So on the right, I got almost 3. I'm not holding it very straight, but almost 3 there. And then on the left, I got 3. So almost 6 ounces. But I find that these bottles that I use with my pump and the actual bottle that we use measure a little bit differently. So I always like to measure in the bottle as well. So these are gonna go back in the bag and back into the fridge, and I'll use them one more time before their time is up. We got like 5 3/4 ounces. So I'm just gonna use this because I have a really good supply. I'm not quite as concerned about saving every little bit if I can. And I'm also still nursing, so if for some chance I don't pump enough, I can just nurse him. Because pumping and nursing is not the same. Your supply is typically not going to be the same. We are using the Dr. Brown's glass bottles. I took the straw out this past week. Didn't think we needed it. We don't have a refluxy baby at all, or a gassy baby, so I didn't think I really needed it anymore. And then this is a size 1 nipple. So for the first, I think we switched to this one maybe 2 months ago. Before these ones, we were just using the narrow ones. They're both good. I didn't have a problem with either of them. I like the glass ones because we can just toss them in the dishwasher, and then we have extra tops. So we actually don't need to wash the tops quite as often because we have extras of them. So we're gonna move all this into the living room so that I can feed Archer while I eat my breakfast. We're gonna have a nice, chill, slow morning. It is already 9 o'clock, but that's okay. You ready for breakfast? You want some milk? Yeah, you want some milk. Alrighty, Archer ate pretty much his entire breakfast. So we won't have to worry about feeding him now until, what time did I pump? Like 10:45-ish? I mean 8:45. So won't have to worry about that until like 11:45 or noon. So now we're gonna play on his mat a little bit, and I'm gonna sort of get ready for my day. The only things that we need to do today, we're gonna hang out at home for the whole day except for we go to a program that's called Early On, which is, if you live in Ontario, it's essentially a government-run program where you can go with your kids. It's kind of like daycare, except you are watching your kids and you're just hanging out with other kids and other moms. And there's snacks and activities and stuff and circle time and stuff like that. And there's a baby group on Wednesdays that we like to go to. So we're gonna go to baby group today, and that's at 1:30. But you can kind of show up whenever you want. So it just depends on when his nap is and when we give him his bottle and such. So yeah, it just depends on when his nap and bottle and stuff are. And then after that, we need to go to the grocery store and get some more diapers. But other than that, we're not doing anything else today. So we're gonna chill out for the rest of the morning. And then after his next bottle and after his next nap is when we will head out of the house. All right, we're gonna go play and I will chat with you at our next pump. Okay, it's time for round 2 of pumping. It is currently noon and we have to leave the house around like 1:30. So I'm gonna have to pump while we're away, which actually works out nicely because these pumps are gonna be expired by that time anyways. So I'm just gonna bring my Eufys, my wearable ones. We don't need to talk about the dirtiness of what's happening here. It is what it is today. It is what it is today. It's not something I care about. I'm gonna put Archer in his high chair. He tends to be a little less fussy for short periods of time in his high chair. So we're gonna put him here. Okay, so now we're gonna pump quick. The other thing I need to do that I'll show you guys today is bagging milk. I don't have that much in the fridge because there was a few days this week that I didn't really pump. It was more convenient to not pump. Okay, and now while I'm pumping and he's chilling in his high chair, I'm gonna eat lunch really quick. Did you drop all of your toys? All of your toys? Every single one. This is where having prepped meals saves my life every single day because I don't feel like cooking anything. So I just put a prepped meal in the microwave. The thing about pumps that's really hard is they're super expensive. Like the Spectra, I think if it's brand new, it's like close to $300 or something like that. I bought it off of Marketplace for $150. I also am Canadian and you can't order it to Canada, so that worked out really well in my favor. So I completely understand, like, so many people are really reluctant to want to pump or to buy a pump because you don't know how it's going to work for you and you don't want to make the investment if it's going to be something that just doesn't work well for you. So what I would suggest if you were planning on pumping or if you aren't sure, buy one off of Marketplace or buy one that's a little bit more customizable. The Spectra has multiple different settings. It has like the express setting and then also the little vibrate setting. I don't know what they're called. The bacon setting, as a lot of people call it. And then you can change the vacuum on it or like the suction level and also the cycle. The Eufy is also fully customizable. It's the wearable one. I'll show you later when I use it. The Eufy is fully customizable as well. You control everything with your phone. It's also heated. There's a lot of different settings that you can put it through. So for those people who say that the ones that are customizable don't work well for them, are probably just not using the correct settings. So play with the settings and see what works well for you. The other thing I would suggest too is if you know someone who has used one of these pumps or has one of these pumps, just borrow it for a short period of time, see if it works for you. If it does, go ahead and buy your own. You don't necessarily want to buy one if you have no idea if it's going to work for you. Okay, so I'm at 7, almost 8 minutes, and this is what we're at right now. My left, I suck at my lefts and rights. My left almost always expresses more than my right does. Almost always. My right is usually lagging a little bit. I will often pump about 10 minutes. I basically pump until I notice there isn't a whole lot coming out anymore. I don't feel like I need to do the full 20 or 30 minutes or whatever, because the amount that I'm getting in that last little bit is not enough for me to spend the time doing it. So I just pump until I'm like, not much coming out anymore. I'm not gonna bother pumping any longer. And I feel like we're honestly pretty close to that point already. All right, we're gonna cut it at 10 minutes. Okay, so bottle, I take these guys off first. I don't wash these every time. I know you're technically supposed to. I don't bother. I wash them maybe once a week, maybe a little longer in between for that. So I take those off first. I always have a burp cloth at the ready because there's always a little bit that gets elsewhere. It looks like on my left, I got 3 ounces, almost exactly. And on my right, I got just over 2.5. So it looks like just about the same amount that we pumped this morning. So I'm not gonna bother putting any into the fridge. Okay, now that I have it in the bottle, I do actually have a little over 6 ounces. So I'm actually gonna put a little bit of this into the fridge. Okay, milk that you've just expressed is okay for 4 hours out of the fridge. Once your baby's mouth touches it, it's good for 2 hours. Milk that is in the fridge, like this, is good for 4 days, okay? And then you can put it in the freezer. So honestly, I don't even bother cooling the milk first. I just mix my warm milk into the cold milk. My lactation consultant said it doesn't really matter unless you have an immunocompromised kid, which I don't, and he's never had a problem with any of the milk that we've given him. So we're just going to continue on with that. So essentially, milk that's been in the fridge, we're gonna open that up, and then I'm gonna pour that 3/4 of an ounce into here. Now we're at 5.5 ounces. So we're gonna give him the 5.5 ounces. This is gonna go back into the fridge, and then we're gonna bag this later. Hey, look what mommy has for you. Look what mommy has. Do you want some milk? Yeah, I thought you would. Okay, so we just finished at Early On and we just got to the grocery store. So I'm gonna pop these babies in right now really quick so that by the time I get home, they will be done. So I won't have to worry about pumping when we get home. So this is all they are. You just do a little turn on here and then, sorry to anyone who's looking, you just slip them in your bra, and then they're controlled through my phone. So I'll just start them once I get into the store. There, and you can't even tell that I have them in. Just looks like I got giant boobs, which I do. So, okay, we just went to the grocery store, grabbed a couple things. I've only been pumping for a few minutes, but I always check before I pump the entire time and it's not in the correct position. I always check about halfway through to make sure that it's actually in the right position, because it sucks to pump for a half hour and to not have had it in the right position and it doesn't end up pumping anything. So now we're gonna head home so that Archer can eat because he's hungry. Okay, so I'm still pumping, but I just wanted to get all of the stuff ready to clean tonight. So we basically use this like collapsible sink to wash everything in because the bottom of sinks are super gross and I'm not interested in cleaning the bottles in the bottom of the sink. But essentially I just drop everything in here. So the pumps from this morning, I'm gonna take all of the lids off the bottles. Lids are gonna go in here, bottles are just gonna go in the dishwasher. And then I will clean all of this stuff tonight before bed, but honestly, I don't even need to do it tonight. I could just wait and do it tomorrow if I wanted to. So then this is ready to go to be cleaned later, and then I'm just finishing pumping. So I'll show you guys in a sec what that looks like once I'm done pumping. Okay, so I've been pumping for 27 minutes, and so essentially we just stop it from my phone and I don't have to worry about anything else. The really nice thing about the Eufys is you can fully track how much you pump and everything. This is not an ad for Eufy. I just literally love them that much. You can write down how much you're pumping each time so that it kind of keeps track of how much you get each time. For these babies, I always, just like the other ones, I always take these out over top of a bottle because there often is a little bit of spillage. It looks like on one side I got a little more than 3 ounces. And on the other side we got about maybe 1.5. Now, these are not super accurate what it says on the side. That's why I like to measure it once I poured it into the bottle. And that was actually closer to 4 ounces. And I'm just gonna get a fresh bag. These pumps will go in the fridge until about this time tomorrow. And then I will wash them just like I did for the other one. So I kind of alternate every day. There are some days when I use both at the same time, but I do try to alternate every day. But I'm also not, depending on the day, I'm also not pumping for the entire day. Just depends on what we're doing, what's convenient, whatever the case is. So these are gonna go in the fridge. And then these babies, I just put right back into the case so that they can charge. Okay, so for our 3:30 pump, we got, actually it's like exactly, I'm gonna show you. It's literally exactly 5.5 ounces. Literally just under 5.5 ounces. So that will be plenty for him for right now. And then typically what we do in the evenings, depending on what happens with supper, what time we eat, what time Daniel gets home, I will often just latch him quick for a little bit because he goes to bed at like 7:30. So I don't want him to have a full meal at that time because if he eats now, it's 4 o'clock. If he eats now and he has this full bottle, then I might just top him up, latch him for a couple minutes later, just to keep him kind of content, and then I will feed him when we go to bed and I'll nurse him to sleep. We are hoping to switch from nursing to sleep to a bottle, which we just haven't had a chance to like fully try that yet. So we're hoping to do that soon because it would be really nice if Daniel could also put him to bed, though he does sleep really well at night most of the time. So I'm not too concerned about it sleep wise because he does sleep really well. But it would just be nice if Daniel could do it instead of just me. So anyways, there's his bottle. He does seem kind of content. So I think I actually will bag the milk now. I think I only have like 1 bag to do anyways. So I use one of the bottles that we actually use for him to measure so that I have accurate measurements because all the bottles do measure slightly different. So I'm going to take, actually I'll move you so that you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so we have our bag for milk here. I'm gonna write the date on it, the first day that this was in the fridge. So I think that is the 17th. I always have it written on my fridge. So the 17th, so January 17th, we go by the first day. And then let's see how much this is first of all, because I have no idea. So this is 8 ounces. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a bag of 5 and a bag of 3. The bag of 5 is what we would typically use. And then the bag of 3 we can always use to top up separate bottles if we need to. So this bag is going to be 5 ounces. Now, typically, so across 4 days, I'm almost done. Typically across 4 days, I would get probably 4 or 5 bags of about 6 ounces. The last couple days, I have not been pumping regularly just because we've had so many different things going on, and for convenience, I just nursed him. I'm almost done, Archer. Okay, so this is gonna be my bag of 3 ounces. You wanna make sure you get as much air out as possible, and I find the easiest way to do that is just pushing it up against the side of the counter. So then these are gonna go in the freezer, so let's head over there. It just honestly depends on how much I'm pumping, and it depends on whether he wakes at night, because if let's just say he doesn't wake up at night and I pump first thing in the morning, I'm pumping close to 12 ounces. I'm doing like 6 on both sides because I'm so full. So right there is already 1 bag of 6 ounces. So it honestly depends on the day and the week. There have been some weeks where I get like 5 bags of 6 ounces, and then there's some where I get like 1 bag of 3 ounces. It honestly just depends. Okay, so this is my little milk section in my freezer. So I have that 1 brick there. That's the first one that I had. The date on that one I think is September. Then I freeze the milk flat there, and then I put it over here in this bin. I have 2 little bags of milk there that are like 2 ounces each, I think, and then some colostrum. And so basically, once I have the amount in this bin over here, I make a brick, and then I continue on that way. So we're gonna take these bags. We're gonna move these bags over, and then these bags are going to go, whoops, little hands on my screen. And then those bags are gonna go there so that they can freeze flat. So that's my little milk section. I honestly just find it so much easier to give him milk directly from the pump instead of pumping and then warming up a bottle and then bagging the milk. That just seems like too much for me, and I have found that this just works really, really well. Then I don't have to do that extra step of warming up a bottle because he's getting it already warm. So I definitely prefer to do it that way. I am trying to feed my freezer a little bit. I am not going to be nursing past 9 months likely, so if that's the case, then I do want to have some in the freezer that I can give to him. And if not, we will honestly just do formula for a short period of time or whole milk for a period of time. Depends on what we feel like doing at that point. But I'm hoping to not nurse past 9 months. So I'm happy to have some in the freezer, and I've thought about trying to increase my supply so that I have more in the freezer, but it's a lot of work, and I don't want to be stimulating a letdown more than I need to because I'm experiencing Deemer. So yeah, it's kind of a toss-up between what I want to do essentially. So we're gonna finish this bottle, and then he's probably gonna have another nap. And we're also hoping to give him a little bit of solid food tonight too. Okay, it is 7:42 and we are just getting Archer ready for bed. So typically at bedtime, we do our bedtime routine, which I'm gonna film probably pretty soon. Probably pretty soon for you guys. So we do our bedtime routine, and then we turn our sound machine on, and then I nurse him to sleep while I read. So we're gonna, he's ready for bed. He's very ready for bed, so, okay. Archer is in bed. I need to clean the pump parts and bottle tops, and then I'm free for the rest of the evening unless he ends up waking up. Sometimes he will wake up like once about an hour after he goes to bed, and then I'll nurse him for a few minutes, and then he will typically sleep through the night or maybe wake up like once. The last couple nights, like I said, have not been great, but I also wonder if he's teething. He's a little stuffy, so I don't know what's going on, but hopefully we have very minimal wake ups tonight and I don't need to worry about it. And honestly, usually I just like latch him for a few minutes and then he's asleep again. So I'm gonna wash these bottle parts and then I'm gonna grab a snack and go watch some TV.